Oh, that's one second. There we go. There we go. Great.
𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘪𝘆.
All right, very good. So I'm going to work with some slight changes in the warm-up because I've been trying to select some slightly different exercises in and some to kind of also finish rehabbing some of the injuries I've got. And they work quite well, so I'll try and introduce some of them into the warm-up that we're doing usually. So the first one, this kind of movement here, just make it a bit freer. So start with this kind of vertical movement. 𝘱𝘰𝘠𝘪𝘩. And just start to feel you can play also with your arms as well. So play with kind of one side, blending the weight into one foot, blending the weight into both. But just play really with a sense of releasing down the arms also. Do like a kind of job on the spot basically. So you can kind of loosen up the shoulders a little bit as well. These release. And just start playing with the feet a little bit, reduce the kind of front and back. That's really kind of light movement. Big movement. Open a little bit to the side, so wide and narrow. Or you could also do that this way if you like. Keep that kind of springiness in the step. That way. That's basically going with that side direction of the body. Very slight, just work with a slight rotation through that, especially through the shoulders and the hips. Just make sure that the hips and the shoulders kind of travel together, so you're letting them rotate through, so not a big rotation through the spine. And then you can do it with both the feet. You do kind of one, landing the weight. Or keep releasing out through the arms as well as you do it. Just come back to the center, just let the weight drop. And we'll just start by activating the hands. So every time you do it, just press the hands out or extend the fingertips out. And you can do one side, you do both. Just feel the kind of feet and hands go together. A little bit of extension out. Start to settle the toes into the ground, the ball of the foot. Just keep that movement going. So think now every time you kind of strike the heel down into the ground, or could extend the fingertips. Just play with the hands a little bit where they are. Position. Settle the heel down, keep that going, but think that you just as you're kind of releasing the knees away, shoot the fingers out. Good, just really slowly move them down. We'll go into the hands, just clasp them together. A few rotations one way. We'll keep the palms together in this case. Elbows quite close to the body. And then switch the direction the other way. And the other way, one more time. Just have to split out the contact with the palm, not too much, but just kind of loosening so the fingers stay in contact. Palms are starting to separate. And the other way. Feel that the motion is really coming from the wrists, kind of rolling over and under. Great. Good. And we'll take it to the elbow. So in this one, same one we've been doing, but just open out the arms to the side, a bit like kind of windscreen wipers. Now keep the elbow and the shoulder relaxed and just kind of roll out the sides. Imagine you're kind of lengthening out down the elbows. A little bit of tension out to the elbows. Just kind of wipe the hands across the face or the chest, depending on where they come up. A few one way. And change the other way. And then just play with rolling, basically the forearm and the elbow together. So imagine that the fist goes one way and the elbow is basically rolling the other way. So you're kind of rolling them out. You can get a little bit of shoulder movement, but just basically let the shoulder relax down and out to the side. Let's take it one way and then change. Okay, we'll take it into the shoulders now, but just really try and isolate the shoulders first. So we're just going to kind of roll quite a short movement in a sense. Just kind of little kind of circles, arms just by the side. Just slowly start to kind of open it out. Let's do about 10 or so small rotations here. And then just start to think about opening the chest. Imagine you've got like a zipper in the center of the body. Just start to open it out. That's nice. And then again, just make it a little bit bigger. Just start to roll in. Involve the knees and the hips. Big pulling up through the body. Great. Okay, we'll take this into alternating. So the best thing to think about this with kind of keeping the center stable. And imagine someone's pushing onto the body. So you've got a little bit of kind of pressure. So the feelings you're kind of rolling back and forward, allow the body's kind of pivot around the center. As the shoulder goes back, the other's kind of reaching, stretching out forward. Great. And then just start to, as you come into the sideways movement, it's a little bit like when we do this opening out movement. Just think about kind of spreading the shoulder away from each other, and you're just using the arms to open out the shoulder a little bit more. Play with the position of the hands. You can obviously have the hand down, you can have it level, or you can have the kind of thumb up in this case. Will slightly affect different areas of the shoulder. Just feel the difference as you go into it. But the key thing is kind of trying to spread out the shoulders, not so much the hands. So you can do this with the elbows also. Hands makes it a little bit easier to get through the open out. That's it. Great. And then we'll take this into the next. So looking at a rotation, keep everything stable here. Just really looking over the shoulder. Just take it as far as you can, nice and easy one way. And the other. And then we'll just slowly work down the body. So we'll do a few. Just really isolating the neck. And just check here just how far you can basically look over around the back without the body going with it. Probably just over the front shoulder. And then just start to feel you keep the hips stable. Just start to bring the chest into a little bit more. So imagine that this kind of connects into it now. Start to go a little bit further with it. If you feel kind of the chest gets stuck in this, you can also kind of open the arms into it. So it might kind of open out the chest a little bit more so that you can just reach out a little bit further. So feel the hips are stable, just gently pulling away from the torso with the upper body. Nice and light. Great, and then really start to involve the hips in and out. So keeping the knees, the feet basically on the ground, plugged in, and just start to go with the arms now. And just a few, reach around with the head a little bit further. You should be able to now basically go really over the back shoulder, reaching with the head, opening up. Great. Okay, and then we'll just make this a little bit more dynamic, bringing the arms into it, and allow, in this case, the back leg to also come out of the ground with it. So really full rotation. Just be careful of the knee that's grounded, that you don't twist against it. But the other way, it's going to sink and settle. Sink and settle. Good. Just come back to the idea of grounding the feet. You give yourself that kind of bounce in the knees a little bit. So if you think of going from this movement, there's a kind of bounce to initiate it, and then the knees are going to kind of release back up into that position. So there's a bounce two ways to initiate from this motion and into that motion. So bounce to the center and then bounce to the back. Bounce to the center, bounce to the back. So nice and dynamic, but really with the knees locking and lengthening better to the back, not straightening, just lengthening up to the ground. And you can put a little bit more into the arms if you like, with this one, kind of wrapping them around the body. Very good. Nice. Okay, we'll go to the hips, so big circles that we normally do. Nice rotations. In this case, especially with this movement, try and feel that you can kind of isolate the hips and feel the motion actually pass from one hip to the other. Especially going to happen at the front, but also at the back. So obviously, when you're at the maximum range this way, you're going to feel that hip's really taking the movement over. It's going to circle around, and then feel that you kind of take it over to the hip. So the kind of exchange of the circle around the hip work. That's nice. Good. And then just take it the other way. Again, that same kind of qualities of passing the movement from hip to hip. Big circle. Great, we'll just activate the knees, so we can bring the feet together like we normally do, just bending in, lengthening back, not pushing them back, just waking them up a little bit with a slightly bigger bounce than before. Okay, and then just lengthen up. What I want to do here is a kind of massage for the knee, which you're going to use your thumb to do it. You can use the fingers as well. I find the thumb easy to do this. Basically, find a position in the way you position the legs where the kneecap unlocks in the front of the leg. So you feel that there's kind of a bit of motion in the kneecap. You don't want to feel that it's tight and under stress. So just find it might be further back, or it might be a little bit shifted forward. For me, it's about here. I can feel that the kneecap's released. You're just going to use the thumb inside. Depending on where you feel it, I kind of pinch the outside with the thumb and the inside with the two fingers, and then just roll in circles with it. And just feel, again, there should be a kind of motion in the kneecap, or a little bit of give in the kneecap. Shouldn't feel tight. And just work your way around it in circles. You can take the thumb in different positions, obviously, and you can change it to the inside. Feel it, especially if you have any kind of tension or any ache in the leg. For me, I have a little bit of kind of tension in the knee here from my injury, so just work that especially. Just feel anywhere you might have a bit of tension, just work it out a little bit. Work in small circles. And then just take the palm and the fingers, just release over the top of it. Good, and then we'll take it into circles, so just a nice tight movement. Keep the hands there, just so you can feel what's happening on the knees. And this really is also for the ankles, so see if you can really keep the feet in the ground. So it's releasing the knees, but also circling through the ankles, so it works better if you can kind of keep that contact in the ground. It's a few one way. And then just lengthen back a little bit here. Gently. If you want to increase it, you can also kind of pull the toes up as well towards the face. Activating the shins a little bit. And press the fingers, press the toes back down. And roll them out the other way. Again, trying to keep the contact, especially in the toes and the heel. And just feel what's happening in the knee, especially the kneecap. Okay, and then again, just slightly back. Bring the toes up if you feel you need to. Right. Okay, just work a little bit of the feet. So, as before, just sinking the weight down, rolling out one side. And that's the other. The other way. Good. We'll do one that's really for the ankles and the joint. So you're gonna need a bit of balance for this. So if you feel you need the wall, use it for this one. But you're basically gonna find the foot over the knee, take the toes, ankle clamps down. You're probably familiar with this one on the ground, but you just need to balance into that foot. But again, if you need to, use a wall for the balance. You just basically roll in. Keep the ankle relaxed with this one. So as relaxed as you can with the ankle. Use the hand in the leg to basically clamp. Ankle down, roll one way. Take it the other way. And then you're going to call it like a Venus flytrap. So you insert the hands down each of the toes if you can in this position. So you basically go right into the side of the toes. The thumb's the other side of the big toe. And then just squeeze into it with the toes and the fingers, kind of press them together. So it's like you're doing this with the foot and the toes. The foot, the toes and the toes and fingers. Toes and fingers. Keep balance. If you need to use the wall, use it. You can release it out. Take it to the other side. Again, just balance into it. Clamp the leg. Really release the toes. Release the ankle. Just notice your balance on one side might be better or worse on the other side. You one way and change the other way. And then just reach in the fingers into the toes. Squeeze the toes and the fingers together. Okay, release it. Okay, just settle into one side. This won't work in the foot again, but also will work the wrist. So there's a kind of strange thing here. You're going to rotate the foot and the ankle at the same time, in the same direction. Now, what's kind of funny here is you can't do the opposite. So you can't, when you change the direction of the hand or the foot, both will change. So you can't go one way and the other with the other. If you can, tell me. I don't know anyone that can do it. So you basically, once you change the hand, the foot will change with it. So there's a kind of wiring in the brain, which is not going to. If you try and do it slow, oh, maybe. No. You'll find it switches. So just do a few one way, a few the other. Change sides, circling them out. If you change one, change the other. It'll happen anyway. Great. Okay, just loosen the leg a little bit. We'll go for the kind of spine now in the thoracic. So quite similar to the this movement we do, kind of breathing in and rotating down, releasing down. Be careful with this one, but you're going to, as you reach it up, you're going to release through it this way. So you're going to be a little bit wider in this one. Might be shoulder width, it might be hip width, but the key thing is just start with this motion. Just release the body down. What you want to feel is that the body can fit between the legs, basically inside the legs. So you don't want to be too narrow that the legs basically block the body. Don't be too wide where it's kind of putting a lot of strain on the body. This one. So for me, it's about shoulder width. Just release down slowly with the body, and just start to warm up the lower back a little bit. Just take it through movements, a little bit of pulses. The key with this is letting the shoulders relax, letting the head release towards the ground. Keeping the knees unlocked. Good. Everything else is the same. So you're going to just come up, curl up, reach up to the top, and take a deep breath in. And then just release the body down. This way, let yourself swing a few times, and then come back up. Slowly curl up, reach up, nice deep breath in. Lengthen all the way up, and then release. Let the body swing a few times. Curl up, breathe in, release it. A few swings of the body, and then curl up. Swing down. Curl up. Swing down. Curl up. And down. Just about 5 more, just in your own time. Lengthening up and releasing down. Nice and nice. Great. And then we'll go to the kind of usual one with the extension. So we'll just do 5 of that, and everything's the same. You can come a bit narrower if you like with this one, because you don't need the body to drop so far. But as you reach it up, and then lengthen extension all the way down. In this one, just play with pulling the hips back a little bit further as well. So the one before the hips basically just hinge. In this one, play a little bit with reaching the hands and the hips apart, and then curling down. So again, very gentle. You don't want to put too much stress on the lower back. Curling up in the same way, reaching out. Give yourself a little bit of a back bend at the beginning. And lengthen, gently pulling the hips away. Rolling up. That's 5 nice deep movements. Correct. Good. Yeah, perfect. Nice, nice. Good. And just one more here, coming up. As you come down with this one, just allow yourself the spine to really curl down towards the ground. Place the hands into contact with the ground. And again, just play with loosening out the spine again. So the shoulders now, release them, but keep the contact with the hands. Feel that the head's really draining into the ground. Very gentle movements. Make sure the knees are still released. Little bouncing them, and slowly go up to the top. Great. So I've got a kind of a bit of a focus on the legs at the moment. So we're going to work just with the basically hip here and stretching out. So you want quite a wide stance, and you want to feel that the hips are square on in this case. So the feet need to be split a little bit and basically separated here. It's important in this one the toes both face forward, so you don't want the outside foot in the kind of Aikido stance, but you're kind of widen out this way. Now, just go to wherever's comfortable here, but feel that you're kind of opening out this part of the body. So you're basically going to sink the weight down. You can do that 2 ways, obviously, by pulling the leg straight back and dropping down. You can also bend the front knee. Just go nice and comfortable with this. Just start with kind of coming in and out of it. So just take it to a range which feels comfortable. Down, and press back up. Down, and press back up. Really feel this part of the leg lengthening. All the way through the front of it. So nice and slowly with it. Do about 10. Good. Come up to the other side and switch over. Again, just as far as comfortable. Drop down a little bit. Sink the weight. Release it back up. Gentle with these first. We'll do a few reps with this one. Good. Now keep that foot position, just face the body to the front here. You want, with this one, the toes to be a little bit out. So rather than the toes facing forward, a little bit out, basic sumo kind of position. In this case, use the hands in the hips, right in the hip crack. What your aim is to do, go as far as you can with this, but you're basically going to hinge the hip, open the knees towards the feet. And the aim of this is, whilst keeping the back lengthened, reach down towards the ankles here. Doing that really classic sumo position. And then just roll back up, but keeping the contact here on the leg from the hip, inside the leg, and then down into the ankle. And just be really careful with this. Don't reach the foot by curling the upper body to do it, because that's going to kind of a lot of stress on the body, but it's also going to kind of cheat the motion. You want to really feel that the hips are hinging all the way down, opening, lengthening out. This is nice and slow. Obviously draining down into the ground and pressing out of it to come up. Just do it nice and slow. Again, go to your own comfortable range. Nice, nice. Yeah, good. It's just keeping that feeling of length through the spine all the time as you go down. So the best thing is, as you come back up, really lengthen up through the spine as well. So you've got that length, and then drop into it. So you're going to incline the body a little bit. Obviously, the body's going to incline into it. You don't want to be kind of pulling the back. Open up the legs. That's it, great. Let's do one more there, nice and slow. Just hold it at the bottom position. Okay, slowly pressing up, release it. With that same exercise we did before, if you can, see if you can go a little bit deeper. You should be able to now, the hips a little bit more open, but again, lengthen out through the back of the leg if you can, and start to sink the weight down a little bit deeper. Don't go over the toe in this case. There are some exercises where also you want to go over the toe, but in this one, it's going to be drop down. Again, just gentle. Pulse this down again with the aim to really open up the hip. Stretch the front of the leg a little bit. You're also working the grounded leg at the front. Then just about 10 up. Come back up. Switch to the other side. You should be a little bit deeper. Great, and then we just do one more set, just with the again, finding that squat position, toes pointing outwards, release the hip, and reach into the ankle, keeping the back straight, lengthen up, and down, and up, and about 8 or 10. Great, perfect. The last one, just hold it at the bottom. Give yourself a little bit of, you feel there's a bit of flex still in the hip, hopefully. If not, you might find the flex a little bit deeper up. Just find a little bit of motion down the hip. Okay, great. And then really to release the hip, place the hands on the knees. This is quite similar to this motion, but think about basically rolling in circles with it. So you sometimes hear this, this is called like flossing sometimes. Imagine like dental floss. Basically rolling out the hip joints. You can imagine circles, and you can also do this with imagining kind of figure of eights, passing the movement one knee to the other. If it feels comfortable, you can also come a little bit deeper. Start to bring one leg into extension, but just be careful with this, especially as it's dynamic. Play with going in both directions. One direction is a little bit trickier. That way. That's it, great. Good. Perfect. Great, and from that position, just pressing down into the knees, lengthen up through the back with the spine, and then just take it into one direction, so looking over the shoulder, rotating and opening. Great. Okay, coming back up. In this case, we'll just do a few here. You want let's see, if you put your feet together, you're going to release the heel out, toe out, heel out, toe out. You should have that kind of position with the feet in this case. In this one, it's a bit of a deeper squat, and you're going to, in this case, just keep the back straight. And as you go down, you probably want to bring the heels up. So the key with this is that you're going to start to bring the knees over the toes here. Keep the length of the body. Again, just go down as far as comfortable, bringing the toes, the heel up, and then just pressing back into it. Use the hands however you like. You might feel you want to come up here. You might want to bring the hands out here. You might want to feel the balance to the side, or just basically lengthen up. Come out to the front, take it down as deep as you can, and come up. So again, the body's going to slightly incline, probably. Ideally, you want to keep it back, but knees go towards the toes, and then over them. So sink into it and then come back up with it. Great. Again, just nice, slow repetitions with it. And again, just really go as far as comfortable. So great. Good. Nice. Very nice. Great. Great. Okay, perfect. So just come out a little bit wider now, and we'll go into this one. So stretching out the back. With this one, think that you're not only moving to the side with this, think that the hips are also pulling back. So imagine like a surfer on the board, although you would keep both legs bent in this case. Imagine you're bringing the hips back, so you're kind of counterbalancing the hips. Again, use the hands however you like. You probably feel they'll either want to go to the ground or they'll want to come forward to kind of balance you out. So you're kind of triangulating from the feet, the hip back, and reach forward, hip back and reach forward. Try and feel that the emphasis is actually in the grounding leg, so the one that's kind of bent, all the weight basically starting to press into it. Just feel that that front leg's actually free to kind of start to move it as well. Okay, just a few each side. Great, perfect. Nice. Very good. Okay, coming up, we'll just loosen off the legs. Okay, loosen off the wrists. Bit front and back. Rolling them out. Take it to the body. Start to make it a little bit smaller each time. Small, kind of pulls through the center. And feel like it passes to the toes, passes to the fingers, out the top of the head. And slowly just come into stillness. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So we'll do a little bit of blocking. How much time? Okay, that took a bit long. Okay, cool. +5 minutes, not bad. So we will do a little bit of blocking. Okay, we'll just work with the first suburi in this case, but just start with, it's basically that idea of swinging through, but really emphasizing the hip flexion in the front hip especially, and just feel that the hip is basically releasing the sword. So you're basically not holding that position, but you've got a connection here with the arms, and then just feel that the hip, that release will basically drive it up, and then it will, by folding, place it into the ground. So just feel like a deep connection. But really feel that you're kind of hip initiated motion with this one. So you go deeply into the hip. Nice. Yeah, good. Great. Nice. Okay, go into the cutting position now, but basically hold it. We're going to do it like 10-second holds and then release it. So this really, the point of this is not the holding position, it's actually the releasing position to kind of find that release. So because you hold it longer, the release will actually be clearer, hopefully, and the longer you do the hold, the clearer the release will be. So if you do this for 2 minutes, this will be really clear, but basically find yourself in the cutting position, hip engaged, hands engaged onto the weapon, settle it down, just hold about 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release it. And then drop it back in. And in about 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release it. And then go. Just go at your own pace with this. You can hold it longer. 10 seconds is around about the right kind of length, but you can do this for a minute or so, just holding that position. But again, the aim is to really feel the release. So it's to really clarify that moment where you really release the sword out. So now it looks like everyone's frozen on the screen. Okay, good, good. Still there, okay, good. That's it. And in a way, this is like one of the things that's not always clear in terms of like Kihon practice. If you look at Kihon in Taijutsu work, where you're kind of in position and then you move in position and move. The whole point of that thing is like the focus is to go into the release or into from the still point to the motion. Now this makes it really clear whenever you go from stillness to motion. So this is just to emphasize this. And in this case, really clear because you've got a focused grip, focus in the hands and then really releasing out the hands. So allow the grip to also release as the hip releases, hips go. So I always think basically the hips and the hands work together, the hips engage, the hand engages into it. As the hip releases, the hand's going to release with it. So you've basically got a pulse running through it. Yeah. So, that's so nice. Yeah, really nice. Good. Take this now into the first suburi, but again, give yourself a little bit of time in the focus. So what we usually do is like settle the cut, so the feeling of kind of settling it and then releasing it. So 2 seconds is round about the length we use when we train. But in this case, you can lengthen it a little bit. You can do 10 seconds, you can do 5. But again, the key is feeling that you've got that engaged body and then releasing it. You want to feel like an elastic release through the whole body, but basically motivated from the hip, but let it really release all the body now. So whereas before it was just basically releasing the arms, let it release right up to the top.
Michael?
Yeah, sure.
You do not want to tension up your shoulders and your back in this exercise, because that is a very tricky thing.
Right.
When you're holding it,
yes.
You go into this.
Yeah, actually, really good point. Actually, when you do it, actually, just try this exercise. I was working with this exercise yesterday, but it's a really nice one. We won't do it, but you basically do it for 2 minutes. So we'll just do it like 30 seconds or so. You basically really clench the fist tight as you can. So really, 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 really tight. That's really as tight as you can, like you're squeezing something tight. Now notice everything's going to start to tense up. Like especially when saying that the shoulders will probably start to go into tension here, something like this. Now just see it, maintaining that tension here, release them out. So you can obviously do small movements with it, with the arms, but really emphasize that you've got the really, 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 really strong grip in the hands. This is best done for we'll do it for 2 minutes or so, but really squeeze the fists together. Whenever you feel them releasing, whenever you feel that there's space in the joint, squeeze it back together. But again, just notice what's happening in the shoulders you do that. So the aim with this, again, it's about the fist, obviously, in that pressure, and strong grip strength is really essential for Aikido. And especially if you're looking to kind of immobilize someone, you need a really strong grip to do it. But flexibility is also really, really necessary for it. So just play with it, but really tightly squeeze them together. We've done about a minute or so. Also feel that the wrist can also be free. So you don't want to feel that tightness in the wrist is also going to jam the wrist too much. The wrist is going to tighten there because it's kind of starting to brace the wrist to support it. It's kind of a weak joint in a way. But try and feel there's a little bit of space in it, but just really squeeze all the fingers together and release them out. Try and see now if you can keep it, but keep in stillness basically. So try and go to the feeling where you can keep the arms heavy, but release. So you probably feel a kind of gentle movement go through them, but just squeeze a little bit harder in the fist. Again, release the shoulder as much as you can. Just want to feel that the arms are kind of heavy. Squeeze a little bit more. We've got about 30 seconds to go. Again, as you feel space in the joints open in the hands, really squeeze it together. You probably feel the fists go red hot, start to heat up. Hopefully they don't go numb. That's not so good. Okay, hold it 10 seconds more. 10, 9, 8. Don't release it after the 1. You're going to release really slowly. So, okay, 3, 2, 1. Now just start to release the thumb from the fingers. Release the thumb out. Start to release the index, pointy finger. Start to release the middle finger. Not to release the third, not to release the fourth. Open up the hands, start to wiggle the fingers, do piano exercises. Good. So yeah, this is also one you can use. You can squeeze something in the hand with it, but it's a really good exercise to do. Again, really emphasizes the quality in the shoulder that you want, but the feeling in the sword whip now, as we go back to it. Just go back to that kind of finishing movement. So we should really have done this from here. So that feeling of squeezing into it, releasing, squeezing into it, releasing. Try and get that same kind of quality. Now you've got a lot of emphasis in the hands. Notice the shoulders. The key thing you'll find with weapon work, especially if I go into tension here, is the shoulders start to brace into it. And they start to break the spine. And the key thing that you'll get there is the spine starts to do that movement, right? And the butt will start to kind of jam out. So just feel the kind of length through the spine. What I find helps in this case is a sense of like softening the front of the body. So you're engaging the back, it's strong, braced in a sense, but you don't want to kind of pull the shoulders into that kind of tension in a sense. So the ideal tool for this is actually the 𝘥𝘰𝘦𝘴𝘩. So these belts that run around the body, and I kind of tighten into them, and I can soften the front of the body basically with it. But not in 𝘥𝘰𝘦𝘴, so just try and feel that, again, strong grip, but also really relaxed with it as well. That's it. Nice. Now, this is where also small differences in the way you use the hands will also really affect the shoulders. So if you think, in this case, if I just slightly over-rotate the hands, that's going to automatically pull the shoulders into tension. So if you find that the hands start to go over, or you feel like there's real tension in the shoulder, especially notice this point. So this point in the shoulder, you'll feel if I go into that position, this whole area starts to become really tight. Now I want that area to be very soft in a sense as I go into it. So feel that what's happening here, you can basically soften back. So I imagine the shoulder blades kind of spreading down and back. And imagine that front of it's as if this kind of rolls over, so that the quality in the bodies are kind of roll over. Now the inverse is the same. It's the power is going to kind of roll over from the back, right? So that I want that direction to be open. I don't want it to be like a kind of ledge in a way, like it's jutting. So just feel again what's happening there in the shoulder. And the other direction obviously is if I over rotate that way. So if I go to the side of the body, it's going to start to pull the elbows down, and I'll actually create tension by pulling this whole area tight as well. And if I cut with this, if people who have a grip to the side, you notice straight away in the neck. So the neck goes into tension like this, like this. So just a very small difference in the grip will really affect the body. So the idea with all of this is like back strong, engaged, and the front of the body really soft and flexible, basically. Flexible is the better word than soft. But that's it. And then just take it to the first 𝘱𝘓𝘂, so the full motion. Keep that kind of softness through the body here. So you really want to be releasing the grip and then fixing into it. And again, releasing up to the top, and fixing into it. You really feel that hip engagement in and out of that motion. Very good. Good. And then just take it to 𝘱𝘭𝘠𝘬. So again, this one really emphasizes through the release into the rotation, big release. Now really feel that you make that movement light. So you want to feel that I basically make this all very light. I've got a very heavy quality in the body here. And then as you rotate, think about the lightness up to the top. So obviously you're grounded, settled, but the quality is really clear, like settled, heavy, and then release light. And make the raise of the sword above as easy as possible. So, nice. And then last one, just to again open the movement out, take this is basically the third cut that you would have in the 𝘱𝘭𝘠𝘬, so the 4 directions, that third rotation. Now do this in both sides, so it's basically 𝘱𝘭 but opened up into the quarters of the 3/4. So in this case, you're going to take the front leg over to the side and then cut down. And then as you go to that side, front leg cuts across the body and then across this way. So you're going to do this both sides. In this case, if the right leg forward, it goes across to the left, you find the rotation. Left leg forward, it goes across to the right, you find the rotation. So it's basically just working at 3/4 that way, and then 3/4 that way. a really good rotation to kind of release the body into the ground as you do it. But again, that kind of light quality through the sword. So it's sensing that kind of heaviness in the settle and the release, lightness in the rotation. Good. Last 30 seconds, cut in any direction with this, but just really again engage through the core with it, or engage into the kind of settling. So let yourself really come into a stable position and then move. So really kind of clear key on. It's very easy with this practice now to start to cut in any direction, and basically I start to lose all those qualities. So really I'm starting to release into movement. Release into movement. But I really need a clear grounding, settling, and then no, it's so nice. Oh, okie dokie, great, perfect. We will stop there. Great. Okay, John. Let's start. Good. Very good. Great. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Great, very good. So the warm-up went a little bit long, but we'll kind of cut it down a little bit.